Hello everyone, welcome to AI Anytime channel. In this video, we are going to look at Gemini API. Okay, so Google has come up with their Gemini family models like Gemini Pro, Gemini Pro Vision, and Gemini Ultra is also on the card, right? They will release that very soon as well. Now, the APIs are now available to leverage these models in your applications that you will be building, and these are available through different mediums. One being through Google AI Studio, and the other one being Vertex AI on GCP, Google Cloud Platform. So Studio is more of like when you use OpenAI, the playgrounds, and using the API from OpenAI. And just imagine that how OpenAI has deployed the models within Azure. That's called Azure OpenAI, where you basically for enterprises where there are some concerns about the data privacy, protection, security, copyright infringements and whatnot, right? So if you really want to build a scalable solution and at the same time leveraging different Google products and services, the better will be to use Vertex AI models, and of course to use it through Vertex AI, because then you will be using the Vertex AI notebooks, the different services of Google's like Cloud Run, the functions, the containers, etc., etc. Right? So that's a way of doing it. The other way, if you really want to test it out and build some proof of concepts or faster prototyping, better to use Google AI Studio. So this is going to be a playlist where I'll be covering only the Gemini models from like introduction to building RAG pipeline. So there will be around 4 or 5 different videos in this playlist. In this video, gonna start with the intro that how we can leverage these models through the API without any orchestration frameworks like LangChain and the Llama index of the world. We're gonna use couple of your prompts. One is like putting simple text prompt, and the other is to try it out the vision capability of Pro Vision model of Gemini. And we'll look at a software development use case where we're looking at to generate or create test cases of the application screenshots. That's what we're going to do in this video in a very simple example. And in the upcoming videos, we'll look at RAG pipelines using orchestration frameworks and vector databases and stores. Now, you can use the APIs for free, which is fantastic. I mean, Google is trying to create some competitions right now with the from their from a commercial standpoint, because they have given some free options where you can leverage these APIs in free. But of course, if you want to use it for some n number of users, then you have to basically look at the other options where you have to pay, right? So let's start now experimenting with Gemini APIs. I'm going to use a notebook and going to just take the API key and see how we can just put some prompts and generate some responses. So let's start our experimentation with Google Gemini Pro and Pro Vision model. All right, so to experiment with Gemini, uh, in this video that we are going to do is look at the intro of how to use the API and just to make some API calls with some prompts to test Gemini model. The second part of this video will be more of a RAG implementation, where we will use an orchestration framework, to basically orchestrate the RAG pipeline. Okay, so we are going to use Llama index here in this video. This is going to be a long video, but trust me, this is going to be a very, very informative video for you. This is the only video that you need for Gemini at least for now. Okay, there are a lot of development that will happen, and of course, I will be creating a lot of other videos as well. Now, let me just rename it as Gemini, demo or something like that. Okay. Now, but to use Gemini, you need an API key. You will get the API key from here. You have to come to this Google AI Studio, and you have to see in the left hand side that have something called Get API Key. If you don't see anything here, you have to create API key in new project and then just copy it once you see that. I will give the link of this studio in the video description. Now that's all. Here what you have to do is you have to install a few things. So for now you have to install just this. Later we'll see what we have to install with the llamas and all. Now just come here and you need this library that's called Google Generative AI. Okay, this is the library that you need. I already have installed, so I'm not going to install this. So the first thing that we are going to do is, let me call this as a markdown. And here I'm going to call this as with directly via API without orchestration framework. Okay. Without orchestration framework. Perfect. And let's do that. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to write a wrapper function or a utility function for markdown output. That's also is available. That's what they also suggest now. So let's do that. So import pathlib, import text wrap, import text wrap, and then the Google generative AI library. So google dot generative AI as GenAI, and then let's have couple of display if required, for the imaging and all. So IPython display edge display, excuse me, this is small only, display. The next is and this is ridiculous by the way. Okay, so this is not consistent in the definition of the functions or classes. You see the this display starts with small and then starts with caps. This is not a right way of creating these libraries, but anyway. Sorry, this is not IPython as, it's gonna be import. Okay, once you do that, you see that we have already imported the library. The next thing is to define a markdown function. So let me just do define to underscore markdown, and then here I'll pass my text. So basically to beautify the answer that we generate from Gemini model. Okay, so text dot replace, and here in the text dot replace, let's replace dot with like asterisk or something like that for now. Okay, and then return. We're gonna use this markdown, and here I'm gonna wrap the text. So text wrap dot indent. It's a method, and here I'm gonna pass my text, not text wrapped. Okay, and then to let's use a predicate. So predicate, and once you use the predicate equals, I'm gonna use lambda and excuse me, there's something wrong here. Okay, lambda, and then this becomes true. Let's do that. Okay, now we are done with this, guys. Now what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna basically just define the API keys I already have here. Okay, so let me just use that just to save some time. Already have written. This is my API key. Of course, I will delete the key once I complete the video. Now let me just import it. Once I import this, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to first show the model. So let's load the model. So gen AI dot generative. That's the class generative model. Okay, so this generative model, and here you have to pass your model. You can find out the signature over here, the init signature that explains. It takes the model name as an input, which is the string value. And here I'm going to pass my Gemini Pro. So both Gemini Pro and Gemini Pro Vision is available. For that, you have to come here in create new, or let's go to uh, freeform prompt. And here you can, this is basically a playground. Here you can select your models. You can see Pro and Pro Vision are available. So I'm just going to define a Pro here for now, and let's run this. Now once I run it, you will see, let me just do a model. Now, once you do a model, it will print the very high level pipeline, a generative model, model name of this class, and then generation config. You can define some config that we'll look at in a bit. Okay, and now let me ask a question. So very simple, response equals model.generate. So model.generate content, and I will explain there are different way of generation is available, like asynchronous, streaming, and so on and so forth, right? Now let me ask, what is AI? Now once I ask that, the next question, the next thing that I have to do is, if you do response now, let me do response. Once you do response, by the way, it will just show you the object. Now what I'm going to do is response dot text. You have to do response dot text. You will see some output which might not look that, I mean, that beautified an output, right? It's difficult to read, and it's also difficult to interpret, right? So what I'm going to do is, let's use that function to mark down response dot text, and it gives as name text wrapped is not defined. I don't know what the mistake that I did somewhere. Okay, text wrap, this is wrong. Okay, let's see if this works. Otherwise, we'll just keep on going. You can see now, fantastic, right? A beautiful answer, guys. You see the markdown what, and because we are working in Colab, right? If you're working this in some IDE, there's a different way of handling this, because we'll be then working on some Flask or Fast API backend. We'll also do that in upcoming videos. You see, it says artificial intelligence is the theory and development of computer systems that perform tasks normally requiring human intelligence, such as visual perceptions, blah 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 blah, right? So you get the output here. Now, this is the one way of doing things. Now, let me just also execute. This is one of the question. You can keep on asking different questions. Now, I will just bring the vision capability. So let me just write here vision capability. And in vision capability, let's do import PIL. I don't know what just happened. This bad auto correction here, guys. Okay. Whew. Import pil.image, and what I'm going to do now, let me show you. Now I'm writing img equals pil.image.open. So I'm going to open an image here. So let me just show you what I'm going to do. Let me open my Colab, and here I'm going to open. Okay, let's take this. So what I'm going to do is, I want to take a screenshot of the visible part of this image. Okay, let's create test cases. Now if you want to look at the developer productivity in your organization, and if you want to build an automated system that helps you generate test cases and multiple edge cases within that test cases, using GPT-4 or Gemini now, because it has some vision capabilities. Let's try it out, those kind of use cases. Why not, right? So let me just rename this as something like, input is fine. Okay, let's save on desktop where I have this. I'm gonna call in Gemini RAG, and that's it. Now let's see if it able to do something. This is the real testing, guys. I'm not a big fan of, the evaluation benchmarks. Okay, so now let's come here, and let's see if we have, you can see now we have input.png. So let's bring that input png here. You can see it's the source, and let me just bring image here. It will show the image in the notebook. You can see a beautiful image over here of Google's AI Studio. Now we have to again bring the vision model. So let me just call it vision model. It has vision capabilities, Gen AI dot generative AI model again, generative model. And inside this model, I'm going to use Gemini Pro Vision. Okay, so let's call it Gemini Pro Vision. Okay, and you can see it gives you Gemini Pro Vision. By the way, response equals, then let's use vision model. So let me just use vision model dot generate content, and in generate content, I'm gonna pass my img. Okay, so let's pass right now. Let's pass this. What was the variable here? Img. Okay, let's excuse me. Let's pass this image for this, and let's see what we get here. Okay, we'll see that. And let me just print the response for now. Again, response dot text, And let me just do that. It says the assistant on the left is showing us. So basically, it explains that image. It's not explaining it. That's what it does here, by the way. Now, explaining is sometime, something like if you want to ask a question, right? In that case, how will you do it? Okay. And that's something that we have to look at. So let's do that. So it says the assistant on the left is showing a list. Let me bring the markdown thing again. So to markdown, and let's pass response txt, text, by the way. And you see the assistant on the left is showing a list of options. The assistant on the right is showing a black screen with a loading icon. Close, not that good, not impressive. Okay, to be honest, not impressive. Okay, we will see the custom prompts and all. Now, what we can also do here, let's try it out. Probably, let me just do a response equals. Here I'm going to write model.generate content, and in generate content, what I'm going to do is here I'm going to probably define something like, generate test cases after identifying all the components. You or let me write like this. You are an automated software tester at an organization at an IT company. Okay. Now generate test cases after identifying all the components. Okay. Now let's keep it simple here. And then cool. Okay, this is fine. And after that, we have to make a comma here. So let me just do that. Okay, now after making the comma, I'm gonna pass my img, and then after here, let's pass the stream because we have to make the stream equals true, stream true, and then response dot. And here you have to use resolve, not the. So here you have to use resolve. You can see it says resolve. That's the uh, you can see its signature docstring. It explains there's no docstring in that. And then let's write to markdown response dot uh, text. Fine. Let's try it out. It says, let me see what it says. 400 image input modality not enabled for models Gemini Pro. Okay. Image input modality is not enabled for models Gemini Pro. Okay. Okay, so we are doing something wrong. Probably the model, then it's overriding. Okay. Model. It should not be model, it should be vision model. My bad. That's why I write it because it's now taking Gemini Pro, the earlier that we defined. Okay, that was the mistake. Now we have vision model or generate content, and in this we are expecting that it will generate some output for you. And let's figure it out if that out because I have worked on a similar use case. And you can see input hello world, text input, fantastic. A component to model, component through safety settings, advanced settings. Okay, it gives you some response, for the test cases. Of course, you can put more custom instructions to look at the output, but very impressive. I liked it, the nature of this that it has suggested. Very impressive. Now let's find it out, and you can see that vision capabilities. We took an HDLC use case, software development lifecycle, where we are generating test cases out of your image. This is your image. Now the next is let's look at how to find all the models. Let me see if there's a way of doing it. Okay, so I think there is something called supported generation method. So let's do a for loop. So for m, which is nothing but the model, in Gen AI dot list models, yeah, you can see that we have something called list models. What if I just do Gen AI dot list models? Will it do anything? Okay, it's an object. What if I'm doing print the same thing? Hopefully. Okay, fine. So we need to use this in this way. So let me just do. So for m in Gen AI dot list models, and then of course it's a for loop. So now in this loop, I'm gonna say if generate content, uh, maybe I have to see this part. I'm not sure about it, but let's try it out. In m dot yes, I was expecting this supported generation method. Let's print the m dot name. You can see right now we have two models available, models Gemini Pro and models Gemini Pro Vision. Okay, so you can find out all the available models like this. Okay, so I think we should, you know, stop this video here, guys, for the first part of the this video, the playlist that I am creating right now. So in the upcoming videos, we'll also see how we can use the orchestration frameworks like Llama Index and LangChain, to use Gemini for the RAG pipeline. Okay, so I already have recorded those videos, but I think creating a lengthy video will not make sense. So maybe we can have 3 or 4 videos in a playlist, and that will be a better way. But I hope you can now look at this. This was an HDLC use case where we look at creating test cases for the given image or an application screenshot. And this is what you can feed more custom instructions with some, few sort prompting as well to make it more better, at the response. But this is what we did. We tried it out without orchestration framework directly via API, that how we can take an API and test it out on some questions, some vision capabilities, and also how what all models are available into it. So wait for the upcoming video, guys. This notebook will be available on my GitHub repository. If you have any comments and thoughts related to this, please let me know. That's all for this experimentation, guys. I hope you understood that how you can basically leverage these models through an API, and that too in free at this moment. And the notebook will be available on my GitHub repository, and the more videos will come very soon. I will start posting them in the next couple of days with the RAG pipelines, that where you can use Gemini. And I'm also gonna create a video of GPT-4V versus Gemini Pro Vision, and we'll see what are the differences and which model is better, at least on few use cases. Now, if you have any thoughts, feedbacks, comments, please let me know in the comment box. You can also reach out to me through my social media channels. Please find those details in the channel banner and also the channel about us. Uh, if you like the content, please hit the like icon. And if you haven't subscribed the channel yet, please do subscribe the channel, share the video and channel with your friends and to peer. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.